but they're getting booty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign. All right, everybody, welcome to Small Town Underground this live Wednesday evening. And as you can see, I didn't get to do any advertising for the show tonight. We're sharing the links to Kim. Did you get the links you needed to share?
Got it. I put it out there everywhere that I'm at.
Sounds great. So thank y'all for joining us tonight. This is gonna be exciting, probably a pretty lit evening on the live stream. This first big live panel that we've had. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And as I fly by the seat of my pants, we were able to pull this thing together. And so we've got people that are representing all across, the metro counties up here in North Georgia. And we're going to be talking about a myriad of things tonight, some things that are going on locally. Derrick had some really good questions that we were talking about yesterday. And so we're just going to, this is not scripted. We're just going with it. We're going to have a good evening. I'm going to let each person, obviously, Antonio Jones from War Room, Georgia, he's out there just making waves. And Derrick Grayson, who is going to be one of our future leaders in 2028, no doubt in my mind. And we brought Kim Smith Holmes, right, from Kim's Coffee Talk, and she runs a morning podcast. And I've been on her show, and I wanted to bring her on tonight just so we could do this, and hopefully everybody can kind of start supporting Kim, because she's got a killer morning show. So, guys, welcome to the show. Thank y'all for being here. And Kim, I'm going to start with you. Just give everybody, just a brief who you are, and let people know your links.
Sure. Well, I'm here in Cherokee County in Woodstock, Georgia, and I've I've been here in Cherokee County since 91. So I live, work, and play here. And everything I've ever done, all my career is in the real estate industry. So, I get interested in all things politics and try to stay on top of things. But more than that, we do a coffee talk in the morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time till about 8 o'clock for those early risers. And, we try to hit the high spots of the news, the things we all need to be paying attention to. And that's kind of my mission over here is, who can we lead to Jesus while we're talking about politics?
There
Yeah.
you go. Well, thank you for being on. So, Derrick, I want you to, of course, introduce yourself. You probably don't need much of one, but go ahead.
Well, I'm Derrick Grayson. Many people in the what I think I'll call them netizens know me as Piedmont. But if you want to know more about me, you can look me up on just type in my name, Derrick Grayson, the Minister of Truth of Georgia.
That's right.
I don't typically talk a lot about myself personally. I try to keep it more about the message, but I'm a Navy veteran. And I've worked in the technology field for about 30 years, 35 maybe. And, I've done a little rocking in my day. But where I try to focus is educating people. And I'm an old preacher, so I try to give a little light, bring people to Jesus, if you will. But I tell you, the way this country is going, so I'm going to stop right there.
Okay, I got you. Antonio, great to have you again with us, and I appreciate you so much for coming. We've been talking a lot, and I want you to introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of brief summary of what you attended yesterday.
Antonio Jones, War Room, Georgia. Just got a podcast here in the state of Georgia. Started out with War Room. Gwinnett County has grown a bit, so we decided to try to go through some bit of a rebranding process because the reach started to go outside of the county lines, state. Yesterday was at the Georgia Freedom Caucus. They had a freedom fundraiser, which had Congressman Ralph Norman and Mark Meadows. It was just a great time. A lot of tastemakers in the building. I don't want to get into naming names. There's so many great people in there. And I posed a question. Me and Roy talk about this all the time. Well, is Georgia poised and on a trajectory to enter into the golden age? So, when I got to speak yesterday, it was about that, and maybe we'll have opportunity to get into that during the show tonight.
Absolutely. So thank you all for joining me tonight. And if you're out there watching, feel free to share this. We're live streaming on X, Facebook, and Rumble, and it'll be added to YouTube later. So, yeah, guys, it's a wild week. I kind of want to start off with this. It's a wild year. Here we are again, poised at the golden age. We're watching things happen that we never thought. The JFK files were released last night, right? And I've been trying to keep up with it today, but we're in uncharted territory. We've got more power than ever to fix this country, to bring it back to America first, back to a golden age of sorts for everybody. And we're facing so much opposition, including in our own Republican Party. Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
I agree.
Probably the biggest and most disappointing opposition. They kind of talked about that yesterday. Mallory did. We know who the Democrats and the liberals are, and we're going through I really don't know what to call it, but I think, Roy, you kind of said that it's we the people now are hijacking the Republican Party because a lot of these business deals and things that they've been doing that for years. So they're not used to us showing up doing what we're doing right now, and it's an exciting time to be alive, to say the least.
I agree. We're the hijackers, I think. I think the Republican Party was designed as more of a a social club than it was about a political club, and that's what it seems to be. It's a hard as heck to move anything, and then now we see the further we get involved with in any part of this. Let's take Colton Moore for example. If the more you ask questions or you stand up and say this is not constitutional, you're getting kicked to the curb. You're getting made a troublemaker. Worse, right?
Yeah, you get kicked out of the caucus.
Sure.
All kinds of stuff.
Exactly. So, people try to make backroom deals with you. Correct, Derrick? I know you've made a run before. It's all about the money. It's all about who is in that next spot and who's been promised that next spot. Am I wrong?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I guess we're going to go ahead and we're going to start because we're going to try to keep it an hour, tops an hour 20, hour and 30. But we're going to go ahead and kind of talk about the elephant in the room, which I kind of inadvertently got involved in, which is we're going to talk about Sophia Farouk. And, I talked to Kim. Kim did not hear the story. A lot of people did not hear the story, but Sophia Farouk is a I would call her a friend, really. I mean, we're not very close, but I have worked with her on several occasions. I've been to some events with her, and I feel like that we've all been talking about this, and we just wanted to address it. This sort of shadow, sort of character assassination that she's going through right now, and I thought that maybe we could shed a little bit of light on it and try to understand what this is all about, because some of the things that have come out are rather concerning, right? But the more that I look into it, the more that in my opinion, it looks like a character assassination that would have never happened had she have not ran for the position of Cobb County Chair, right? In other words, if she would have just stayed, which she was already the third vice there, and if she would have just stayed in her lane, everybody would be hunky-dory, and she would be, oh, we love little Sophia Farouk. And the fact that she stood up and said, I want to, I want to be the chair, and I've got a slate. All of a sudden, this turned into an attack on religion, attack on, and it started pitting people one against the other. And I was concerned because I can see both sides about being concerned, but I feel like it's a character assassination more than it is anything. Because if this was very relevant as many years as she's been involved in this, then this would have been brought out a long time ago. I know things about her father and her family, but none of this was a concern. So who wants to go first? What are your thoughts on this?
I can just throw out, because you threw it at me, so I kind of jumped into what I could see about it. And like I said, I came across the veterans group, the veterans for America First, that are getting behind her and condemning this attack. And interestingly, they say, the anonymous emails from Integrity Matters that are attacking her, or attacking this veterans group for endorsing her. So, immediately right there, we see anonymous emails, anonymous sources, anonymous this. It's all anonymous. I want the names of the people. I want the names of the group. This anonymous stuff it's almost like flush that. We're on to the next thing.
Right. And I just want to point out, Kim, me and you have talked several times. I've been on your show. I'm so grateful to have you here tonight. But when I talked to you earlier today, you knew nothing about the situation, and I tried to not give you any information. I said, I'm going to send you everything that I have. A rebuttal. I'm going to send you the attacks. I said, I want you to make the decision. You're an outsider, right? Because I'm not endorsing Sophia Farouk. I don't need to endorse Sophia Farouk. This is not about, I'm not even defending her. I'm simply pointing out that this is a character attack, and I want to get into the weeds of that, right?
Sure.
But that's what you've seen. You've not been influenced by me or anybody else, right?
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Okay. All right, who's next?
You want to go, Derrick?
Youth before age.
Okay.
Go for it, Antonio.
All right. So this is classic of, in my view, the Republican Party. It's like we're the Pharisees, or we're some purists, but when it's time to start judging politicians on what they're doing actually with their political office, then we hear and we see no evil. We taking the moral high ground as a party, or some factions of us. And what is the standard? Like you said, it's never been a problem up until now. Nobody came out and says she doesn't have the ability to do the position that she is trying to fulfill the role of. We have several different people, several different types of religions in the Republican Party. So, I mean, Catholics don't believe just like traditional Christians do. So are we, there's a lot of Catholics in positions. There's issues of people have concerns about some things with the Jewish backgrounds and stuff like that. So are we going to say, Netanyahu's a crook, get out and denounce him or whatever the case may be and try to tear this person down?
Right.
It just seems like, to me, the establishment is losing control, and they do the same thing to Donald Trump, the Republican Party. Remember, let's go back to Ron DeSantis and that whole crowd. And there was a big tug of, he's too old, he's too this. It's never about whether the person can do the job or not. And that writing is on the wall with this particular situation, as far as I see with Sophia. I've seen Sophia out at different events way prior to now. I mean, a couple of years ago. I've talked to her on the phone a few times. Nobody ever had anything to say about who Sophia was or what she stood for until she decided to step into these shoes, and they found out that she is America first, from what I know. And she has big plans to try to get the vote out and connect with different communities and let the Republican Party be what it should be. And that's a party for all people, merit-based and based on God, family, and country.
I agree. And one more thing, because I want people to understand that all three of you people, have I coerced you, or am I being paid to bring this up, or has anybody coerced you to come on this show? Because I'm making a point here. We are all free willed discussing this, and none of us here. We're all here because we want to be here, and this is not our only topic tonight, but this is the elephant in the room. So I just want to make that clear, that this discussion is coming from each one of us, just because we see things that are going on that I don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah,
okay.
Me either. When I saw this come out, I called a whole bunch of different people, and just to see if somebody had something different from what I saw. I mean, this in my view has no merit to it for the position that she's trying to go for, and she's not a newcomer. She's been around. People know her.
That's right. Derrick?
Well, it's not really much for me to add. Sophia's a friend. I've seen her at a number of different events. We talked. I did put a post out, and I told people, y'all really need to check yourself. Sophia was all right with y'all when she came to your event and supported your causes. But now that she dared to step up and want to take the lead on something, now it's a problem.
Right.
I told her to tell you all to piss off. I talked to Sophia, and I told her, the next time somebody asks you about your religious beliefs, you tell them it's none of their damn business, because that is not what this here is about. And anybody that's been in the military knows, I served with Sikhs, I served with Muslims, I served with Buddhists, I served with atheists, Protestants, Catholics. We all took the same oath.
Right.
And none of us tripped about what somebody may have believed. I may not have agreed with it. But, most of us young men, we weren't really thinking too much about religion anyway, except, maybe the next liberty.
That's right.
But aside from that, Sophia, she should just needs to stand and fight. And I got word from Charles Stoker that her slate took the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
She won the GRA. The Cobb County GRA had to be 2/3 of a vote. It came out a few hours ago, and she actually won that, right? So the people of her community, the ones that she works with every day, voted to endorse her, right? That's a big thing. That's something that we can't ignore here. These are people that work with her every day. And furthermore, when you talk about religion, because I think everybody knows I was an atheist for a long time, fell out of God's will, and I'm here. Jesus is my savior. And the people didn't give up on me about it. And the same people, that helped me through it. Imagine what we're doing if we're throwing people under the bus due to a religion, when especially this, when you look at it, this is about some of her family. All right. And I got attacked the other night because I kind of got pulled into a group, and I hate a Facebook comment thread more than anything. You're never going to solve any problem. And somebody misconstrued my comment as being, well, you must be against the Christian faith. And I'm like, are we really going to these depths on this woman? Because for starters, the Republican Party has things in place. We're supposed to agree to the principles. We're supposed to fight for Christianity. We're supposed to do all these things in the name of the Republican Party, that if an infiltrator comes in, what do? We have structures in place to take these people out of these positions, right? So my point to all this is, if there's something that we need to worry about, Mrs. Sophia Farouk, there's protections in place. Her own executive body can vote her out. Now, they're not just voting for her, they're voting for a slate of people. So there are Christian Americans that have stood up with Sophia and said, we want this. All right, we've had opposition here. Lord knows Catoosa County has had the most opposition. I can't wait for the videos to show up. Their entire elected structure, from commissioners to the Board of Education, came out last night and created a circus. Okay? But guess what? None of that matters, right? But it matters because she's a Muslim. It sends me this signal like, well, I've got German blood in me, so because my grandfather might have been part German or something during World War II. Oh, he's a Nazi sympathizer, so we can't be friends because we got different color skin. I don't understand it, and that's my gripe. Look, if we've got something to worry about here, it needs to be dealt with. But why this attack right now on this in Cobb County? It looks to me like a character assassination. What are you going to do? You're going to say? Go ahead.
I know. I just want to ask a question. Because like we know that she has been serving as already she's the third Cobb GRA third vice president. So she's serving in that capacity right now. And I guess my question is, because I don't know Sophia, I mean, how long has she been out there, being a good soldier for the Republican Party? I mean, obviously she might have been out there for a while before she stepped up and got involved in this position, and nobody's questioned anybody. Do we know it? I mean, she's Muslim. Does she practice that, or is it we're getting all the grief because her grandfather has a story?
This is not that complicated. They handpicked somebody to replace Sally Grubbs. And Sophia is quite popular with people. So the only way to put her down is by killing her over blood. Well, your grandfather was XYZ. That's all this is about. And the fools will listen to it and believe it and get caught up in she's a Muslim or she's not a Christian. All of that nonsense, just so they can put this phone guy in who's simply going to take marching orders. So that none of this is new. This has been going on in the GOP for decades. And when I got involved back during the Ron Paul days, this was going on back then. None of it has changed. I got out of local politics and I focused mostly on the federal stuff that's taking place,
Mm-hmm.
but people are still asleep at the wheel. We're getting ringed right now by SCOTUS and
Yeah.
by Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Those rhinos that just, anyway, I digress. So what Sophia is experiencing is nothing that any constitutional conservative, leaving Christian off of it, hasn't dealt with. You bring up that old pesky Constitution,
Yep.
and you talk about being a true conservative, they don't want you. That is what Sophia is dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what they've been working on for all these years, and this goes back to some parts of the Bible back in Genesis. I've been kind of touching on this on the show, but you know, the Israelites was up underneath God Himself, His word, and He ruled through judges and through priests. So they decided that they wanted a king, right? Because all the other nations had a king. So they were actually rejecting God Himself. So we had a constitution, you know, so that to your point, Derrick, that pesky old constitution. Well, that is the law of the land, and the people that we elect are supposed to be officers of it to make sure that it's followed. But there are people in the party who are promising other people things, and they want a monarchy. That's what we're experiencing in Georgia. They don't want the Constitution, you know, because it lays down the rules in which we're to be governed by, and it levels the playing field for everybody. Well, they want a rigged game, and that's why they want to manipulate who gets in charge so they can tell them what to do, just like you just said, Derrick. That's what this is about.
Yeah, and I think maybe we need to remind people that we have a Republican governor who is of the Christian faith that completely broke off from this Republican Party and started an entire coalition against this Republican Party. You see, we're throwing religion around like it's candy, like it's just something you can just do. You understand how this looks, and I'm preaching because the perception is always worse than the reality. Okay. And bottom line is that this woman, until there is something out there that shows this woman's character as being anything other than a person who is grassroots and fighting for the right reasons, right? To bring more people together, to do all these things, then this is nothing but a character assassination. And I wish her the best. They should be settling this like grown adults Saturday at their convention. But I get so sick of these attacks.
Has Sophia come out anywhere, made a statement, you know, just made any comments about these anonymous attacks?
And see, the way I got involved is because I know Sophia and we talk. Not all the time. We're getting closer. I did help her with a campaign for sheriff for David Cavender in her county. Nice Republican sheriff. And so she wanted to do a show. You know, I said that would be a great idea. Let's do it. You know, we talked about it and time constraints, and then her leading up to it because she didn't come out, I think, till last Thursday or Friday. And so we haven't been able to do that, right? And but at the same time, she was able to go on, I believe, Bill Quinn. Bill Quinn interviewed her, and she released statements after all this broke out. And some people even claim, well, it's a mess statement. You know, it is what it is. But I haven't seen where she's not stood up and continued. She's been at events every night this week, and she's not backing down from anything that I can see. Now, you might look at it some of it and go, big deal, whatever. You know, that's not the point. But the point is that I believe that she's hitting this on all cylinders, whatever comes out. And again, I'm not saying that anybody is wrong. I'm talking about the attacks being wrong. If we had something to worry about, this should have been out way further than this. But the fact that it wasn't up until, well, Antonio said, it looks like there's some power control moves going on here. All of a sudden, we are just trying to bury these people that have been putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And one more thing, a lot of people say they go back to the Muslims. This is what happened to the Democrat Party. The Muslims took over the Democrat Party, and it's like always the Muslims. And I'm like, what are we going to do? We're going to keep the the Muslims over here on this side and the blacks over here on this side. What are we talking about here? We're supposed to be judging people on character and the fruits of their labor. That's all I care about. You know, I'm done with this nicety stuff and everything. Show me something. You know, I'm looking for people that are movers and shakers, and Colton Moore will stand up in that face of opposition, even if it's not the, you know, even if it's not the popular thing, to move things forward to the future.
You right, but think about this too, Roy. And they hypocrites. That's the part of this that just gets on my nerves. They are hypocrites. They only bring stuff up that what somebody, you know, integrity only matters when they don't want somebody, when they want their person in or their establishment person in. Like you say, look at all the stuff that Governor Kemp's done.
Exactly.
You know, we got all these organizations, say they Christian organizations or whatever. Nobody really released a real statement after what happened to Colton. And it's like Brian Kemp rode around here in 2018 talking about he was going to round up illegals, and he put out some weak fake statement today.
Oh,
you know,
I saw that.
I don't get together with ICE. You know, Laken Riley's been killed. It's like, this is a joke. You know what I'm saying? These people are not serious. This is embarrassing, actually, and they exposing themselves. Agreed.
Just one caveat there. Yes, I saw that advertising today. I don't live to go after Governor Kemp, right? But how do these people not realize? He releases a statement. We talked about this on the show about how a lot of local law enforcement departments were not ready to handle ICE. In other words, I've been in this business for a while. When they used to have ICE detainees years ago, our departments weren't ready to handle this. They'd already erased all that stuff off the books, right? And here you have the governor riding in with his shotgun saying, well, you heard that. I'm going to load them all up in my truck. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, he's saying, if you're a criminal, he didn't use the word illegal anyway, if you notice that. But if you're a criminal, blah, yada, yada, we're going to do this, and maybe I should train him. And I'm like, why? These laws have been on the books. Why haven't they been enforced for all these years? And now it's just, you can see right through this stuff, y'all.
Yeah, the governor is supposed to be the senior law enforcement person, executive in the state, the chief magistrate. You know, so all of these, there should never be a such thing as like a rogue DA and all this other. The governor is responsible. So my question is this: we have to tie this to these people that's going after Sophia. Where are you guys at? Where's your picket signs down at the Capitol saying, "Hey, let's get rid of Brian Kemp"? You know, when they have these little parties and stuff at the little the train spot or whatever downtown, and they're lunching, and everybody's running around smiling, trying to see who they can get a picture with. They're not serious, Roy.
That's right.
And this is the joke about this whole thing with them going after Sophia like this. They're like the Pharisees. They're not serious, man.
That's right. So we'll finish this off so we can move on. And I want to personally wish every candidate that is running down in Cobb County the best of luck, and you all should vote your conscience. Because, like I said, I don't endorse on this show. Now, Derrick Grayson might be that exception to the rule later on. But my point is that I'm not endorsing Sophia Farouk or any of the other two candidates. But you folks down there in Cobb County, you know your communities, you know your people, and you know whether things are real or fake or whatever. You go down there Saturday to that convention and you vote your conscience, and that's your battle. I'm just telling you, these freaking character assassinations that are highly conglomerated together, it's easy to see. All right, you're bringing too much attention to yourselves because it's not cool, man. Any one of us can be that way.
Can just jump in real quick. Like Derrick mentioned, to set us all straight what was happening. So my question, I guess, is who is it that's planned or being pushed and promoted to be in that chair position? If
a guy named Fong.
Who?
Some guy named Fong.
Fun Fong is his name.
Okay, I'm seeing him.
There's a newcomer. I don't know her name. I've seen her name.
Yeah, I saw it earlier.
Apparently, she just came to the end of the GOP. I don't know exactly where she's from. She does have a campaign manager, because the person that attacked me the other night with such an idiotic comment, I got to digging around like, who is it? Guess what? It was her that woman's campaign manager, obviously.
Mary Clarice Hathaway.
But yeah, so
Mary Clarice Hathaway.
I wish them all the best of luck.
Yeah, we're not particularly endorsing anybody, but everybody should have a fair shot, and it should be merit based, and we shouldn't be having these types of attacks. Let the best person win.
Yeah, and if Sophia if she wins, or this Clarice or Fun Fong wins, and they are not doing the job that needs to be done for the Republican Party, get them out of there. That's what you do. Anyway,
that's not how this works. Y'all act like y'all living in la la land. That's not how this works.
Well,
they will get them in there. They will stay entrenched, and the people that elected them got their head so far where it doesn't shine that when it does come time to get rid of them, they won't do it. This is how this system works. That's why I left the DeKalb GOP. They are insidious.
Well, I don't...
Unless you overwhelm them with new people that will come in and vote,
right,
you stand no chance.
I got you.
Despite all of the stuff that Kemp did, the man still has overwhelming support.
Yeah, that's what's mind blowing
from Republicans in Georgia.
I can't disagree.
But they want the money, Derrick. A lot of them. They want.
We both know that. That's what it's all about.
They want that money. They want the opportunity. It goes away from that's why the Constitution is so pesky, like you mentioned, because when you have a representative that's trying to uphold it, like a Colton Moore, Charlize Byrd, and a couple of others, look what they do to them.
That's
it's
the
because
truth.
They're not in it for themselves, and they're not creating a hierarchy inside of the government, which leads to a monarchy.
Yeah,
you know, and the monarch right now, that's Governor Kemp, in my opinion.
And let me preface this. There are some certain legislators, and I will not name names. There's no reason to name names. But there's certain legislators that are very scared of this tort reform bill. And why are they scared? Because this governor is threatening them every which way. If you don't pass tort reform, we're going to primary you. You know, he's got a $100 million plus war chest. If you don't go along with this tort reform, we're gonna make your life a living hell. If you don't do this, we're not going to pass your legislation. And we got scared people that aren't the Colton Moores of standing up, right? Because they all can't be. We all want them to be, but let's be realistic here. They're like, what are we supposed to do? Because if I don't vote for this, well, then I can't bring this bill up because they're threatening me that bad. This is where we're at with politics. And I feel for those people because they're good people trying to pass legislation for their communities. And they're like, look, if I don't do this, like, they're going to cut me off. And this is how crappy the system has become.
Yeah, well, this is what I would say to those legislators, Roy, and I understand your point. But if you got, 10 guys or whatever, and they want to be in opposition, they need to clean up their voting record and create a block.
Yes.
Start saying, hey, we're not going to vote for the speaker. I mean, Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump, they've all given us a template to go by. And see, the deep state also has a template to go by. Remember, think back to when they tried to pass the Green New Deal and it failed. What did Georgia do? The so-called Republicans, like you say, Roy, when you mock Kemp was the best state to do business. They passed their own Green New Deal. Yeah. So what we got to start doing is take a page out of the books of the people who are actually fighting. And there's some people up on the federal level, a couple down here, that have given us a template to go by. But it's going to take men of courage. They need to create a block and say, hey, okay, this how you want to play? And this where they need to meet outside. But see, you can't have that meeting when you're taking money from the devil. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that every single person that might be a little bit of timid or don't have the courage has taken money. But it leaves the question then, why won't you? Is this how you're going to live? You're supposed to be there representing your constituents. That's right. You shouldn't give two what's about what the governor got to say, because the people you should be afraid of is the people you represent.
Amen. Derrick?
So what made Trump different was Trump was a billionaire when he went into office. He didn't even take a salary. And Trump is a deal maker, so he did not become president because he wanted access. He actually wanted to save the country. These people get into office for the access. They want the access
Right.
so that they can personally enrich
That's right.
themselves. That is the reason why they won't say anything or stand. You got Rand. So there's a block in D.C., the Liberty Caucus. What have they stopped? They ain't stopped the damn thing. Everything's been going downhill while Biden was in office. You think this is the first time we've had the House and the Senate? We had it
No.
under George W. The younger. Had the House, the Senate, and the White House.
It did nothing.
Could have passed whatever they wanted to pass.
Mm-hmm.
When Trump won the first time in 2016, those first 2 years, before those 45 Republicans decided to quit, which ultimately led to us losing the House, they could have given Trump whatever he wanted.
Right.
But they didn't. And they are not going to now. They are already betraying him right now. Everybody think, oh, Musk has exposed some stuff.
That's it.
But they gave us a continuing resolution with none of Trump's agenda in it, and they didn't cut any of the things that Musk exposed.
Yes.
All of that funding is still there.
Nothing's changed.
So, yeah, so none of that stuff has changed. So if you can get a block of people down here in the State House, you know what? Forgive me for being so cynical, but 20 years of doing this nonsense and seeing what you're working with at the local level, I'm a firm believer that poo-poo rolls downhill. So we got Trump up there at the top. I'm hoping that what Trump has got going on will roll downhill so that these people down here will take note and do what Antonio just said, take that template and put it to work.
Yes.
Agreed.
But they ain't gonna do it without, and we gonna have to be there, Derrick, with the as Steve Bannon said, with the bayonet to the back, to make them do it wherever we can.
Right.
I got mine. AR-15 or 45.
I'm telling you, it's the truth.
Loaded for bear.
It's the truth. I told my 2 cents was,
mad enough.
you know, if you're that scared or whatever, at least be truthful. At least tell your constituents, and if you're working up the courage, at least go out and say, look, they're got our hands tied behind our back, but I'm coming to you, community, and let you know. I don't know how to handle it. I know if I was up there, I would probably. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that I would not vote for anything that I didn't believe in, right? But I
love you so much. You give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
I try. I'm trying to. I'm a bridge builder. Look, I ain't ready to go off the edge, right? I want to be, because I don't have anything to gain from any of this, right? I believe that certain people have certain good uses at certain times, and it ain't all the time. And I'm telling you, but I feel like, and I've told this to Antonio, I felt like I took a step back just joining the Republican Party, getting into politics, right? Because it always seems like dead end streets. And when you have the perfect opportunity to do something, right? Or you have, look, man, we 400 bills rolled through this session, all right? And they're more worried about protecting pesticide companies and what the name of cornbread is than getting anything else done. And I'm like, this is bull. Like, and the louder we are, the more we try to ask questions, the further off they run. And now they're throwing people into the floor. We can't even get that. We can't even get a charge put on these people. And it's very frustrating because you're trying to do good, and now it seems like we're getting into the season where, all right, We're going to start drawing these lines in the sand. Never mind your character. You go along to get along. You're going to do this, or we're going to excommunicate you. And I'm like, guess what? If you throw me out of the Republican Party, I won't lose an ounce of sleep because y'all ain't got nothing for me. I'm trying to put input into fix this, right?
Yeah.
It's
That's my
disheartening.
experience. That was my experience getting involved, wanting to get involved, figuring out the process, going through the campaign management, classes that they want to offer up to get you started out there. But it's amazing how you feel like, and I just say it, you walk into the GOP office in the county and you feel like, somebody's right behind you with a knife.
Okay.
Welcome to the GOP party.
This is struggle session that we're gonna be in, and men and women that are involved in this, they just gotta understand. I mean, Derrick served in the military. He know what it is. This is just where we at right now. On Top Gun, you remember when the guy choked up in the air? He was saying, "Hey, he lost it, turned in his wings." Right. So that's what I'm saying. The legislators, whoever's running for top leadership, even all the legislature, hey. If you can't do it, man, hey, you got to step aside right now, because we need somebody who gonna stand in there and be willing to go all the way to the point, like Donald Trump has done, and like Senator Moore has done here in this state of Georgia, to go all the way to be assaulted and thrown in jail for his constituent. This is what it's about. We have been so accustomed to fighting wars and waiting for a bomb to go off because that's the way it's always have been. Well, the war now is local. And we need soldiers that are going to be able to go all the way and get in the trenches and stand in the breach like Senator Moore. That's the time we in.
Amen.
But Antonio, like I do, once these folks step into the arena, and then you get the Kemp handlers, I'll just say it that way, the Kemp handlers that, meet up with them for lunch or for breakfast or for dinner, and those dollar signs then start getting put in front of them. It's all of a sudden how quickly they can move away from, and I've asked this question, do you become corrupt when you get into politics?
No.
Or does politics make you corrupt?
No.
Go ahead, Derrick.
Everybody's got a spirit that speaks for itself.
That's it.
If it's in you and it takes a few dollars to bring it out, it was already in you.
That's right.
I used to always tell my children and people that I just know in general, there ought to be some lines that you don't cross.
Right.
Where do you draw your line? So, no, I people have predilections. We all know about Jeffrey Epstein, so I don't need to do no deep dive into that and how they set up their, well, you've heard the term honeypots.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what it is. So these people, when they get there, that corruption is in them already. We're born into sin. Okay, we fight it off with the blood of Jesus. And I don't want to get into any of that. I'm just trying to make a point. Nobody can make you corrupt.
That's right.
You choose to be what was already in you. You let it come out. So I don't know if y'all remember. Do y'all remember Sam Moore? The representative under the Gold Dome? He caught hell fighting David Ralston. And they raised money to ensure that he did not win his next election. And Sam Moore said, I say, why didn't you try it? He said, Derrick, it ain't worth the blood, sweat, and tears. So he just wasn't willing to sacrifice more of himself in that fight. Okay, I get it. Don't want to do it no more. So he's enjoying his wife and his kids, and they're doing their thing. This is not for the weak of heart.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, you're
That's right.
Because those are some beasts. And I've seen women worse than some of the men. Debbie Dooley, I don't mind calling name.
Yeah, some of the worst.
I've never met her. So, yeah, I hear you guys. It's not for the faint of heart. I mean, especially, and I think we're seeing some of that play out, and I think it's only going to get worse as we get to 2026. And why? Because 2026 is going to be such a pivotal year in Georgia. Brian Kemp cannot go any further. There is going to be a new governor regardless. We got several seats opened up, and I think we're going to see some really cutthroat things because they don't want Colton Moore-like representatives anywhere in this state. They want lockstep people who's going to do exactly what they're told, and they're going to throw every bit of the money and that whatever they, all the lavish crap their way, and they've been given a tool chest to do that, right? And it's going to get nasty, folks.
Yeah, it's going to get nasty.
Thank God I'm not running. Which leads me to there's no bones about it. You are running in 2028 against Raphael Warnock, correct, Derrick?
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do before
we have a lot of work to do, but I want people to know who Derrick Grayson is. I'm going to tell you, I'm not trying to, I've said this before, but I'm just a small town dude. I got involved in the 2A. That's my passion is Second Amendment. But the first time I ever saw Derrick Grayson years ago, everybody kept telling me, you got to listen to this man. I said, oh, yeah, okay. And I did. And it changed something in me. I'd never heard a speech like that. I'm trying to give you the big head. But the way that you speak truth, the way that you speak it and you don't hold back is something that I envy, because even if I, like sometimes you'll go after Marjorie Greene hard and I'm like, dang, man, come on now. But you know what? I say, well, Derrick Grayson is probably the spanking that we didn't want, but we probably needed, because as long as I've known you, I've never seen you compromise your principles at all. And then let's talk Antonio. He voted Democrat for how many years?
Man, I voted for Barack Obama. I voted for Trump the first time in 20. I started turning the corner in 2018, but my values have always been conservative.
Sure.
And, just a kind of aha moment. Never look back. Nothing about me has changed. I'm in a right affiliation now.
You understood where the line was, right? And exactly. Am I supposed to hold that against you? Because you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we've got to move forward together and give each other the chances. And that's why I believe in you, Derrick, because I've never seen you buckle under any pressure. And
let me throw this out there. Two things, to your point and to something that Antonio just said. Marjorie Taylor Greene has the best constitutional voting record of all 9 Republican representatives in the state of Georgia. I cannot take that away from her. The woman votes with the Constitution 97% of the time. Okay? But she's a loudmouth that hasn't stopped anything. But Trump needs her to vote with the Constitution. Mm-hmm. I get why they all did what they did and voted to pass that continuing resolution in the House, but I applaud Massey.
I do too.
For voting against it, and that CR will be a strike against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, because CRs we're not supposed to be doing them. And Antonio, I was so sick of the Republicans. I voted for Obama the first time too.
That's understandable.
Been there, done that. All right.
Yeah, people got to do something for the vote. That's what I'm saying.
Look,
people do something for the vote, and if they've been going a certain way, if they think they're gonna get it, that's the position that we in right now. Well, who gonna go with the governor? Oh, we gonna get the lesser of two. No, we don't need no lesser of two. We're sick.
No, I agree, and I have no problem saying this. All right,
you were right. I didn't mean to cut you off, Antonio. I was agreeing with you. No lesser of two evils, because evil is still evil.
I've
That's
never
right.
voted for Democrat in my life, but it killed me to vote.
Bravo,
It it
hats
killed
off to you.
it killed me to vote for Mitt Romney. He was garbage then. He was garbage now, and I had to hold my nose and vote for him. Trust me, I will say that till the day is long. All right, I know 2012, Barack Obama, I get it, but he was garbage then and garbage now. So
I wrote Ron Paul in.
actually, I did one election. Yep.
Yeah. I will never, ever vote for a rhino. I will never vote for a Democrat again in life. And Obama, that was just that one off because what Bush did with TARP.
Bush
And
was horrible. Wait,
yeah,
they had a tort reform too, right?
It was called TARP.
it was called. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
you might be right though.
Because
There's
remember
a
he was about to put a cap on it. He was going around with this big campaign. I have to pull it up. I have to send it to y'all.
well,
But
I mean,
he did
So
some type of
TARP
tort.
was the bailout.
yes, the bailout,
Okay.
2007,
Okay.
2008.
Okay, I got you.
That was the bailout. He bailed out, and the one that stuck at me the worst was General Motors. Bailed out General Motors.
Yeah.
Uh, then when they were solvent, the first thing they did was close hundreds of dealerships
Yep.
across the country, and then started sourcing their parts out of Germany.
Yeah.
Wow.
They also gave their entire board bonuses, if you remember that.
Right. And so I never forgot that. And I remember at a GOP meeting, Sergeant at Arms, his name was Mike. I'll never forget him. And I was going at it with them, telling them about their rhinos. Let me tell you something. Nobody was going around using. I think I single-handedly made the term rhino popular.
That's where
And when
I
I
heard it
heard
from.
Trump using the word rhino, I've been throwing that word around since 2011, 2010 maybe. And somebody, don't use that word. You can't say that. Why not? That's exactly what they are. But
That's right.
anyway, I digress. Um, and I told him Bush was a terrible president. The man gave us TARP, and this dude who is master at arms for the DeKalb GOP at the time. But he was a nice guy. But ignorant is all outdoors. See, we got a whole bunch of people that won't do any research. They don't research the people that they vote for. They don't know how they stand on the issues. We have ignorant people that run for office that don't even understand what it is to be a constitutionalist. Don't let me preach. I'm done. I'm off the soapbox. So
You are right. You are right.
True.
Now we're hitting the hour mark, and
How about the Constitution that's now hanging in our president's office?
oh yeah, the Declaration of Independence. He put it in the
Behind the
office.
curtain.
It's
Yep.
beautiful. I mean, look, I think, I mean, like I'm getting cold chills now just thinking about what we've been through in this last year alone. You know, he was not even supposed to be here. He was supposed to. I mean, his ear was about shot off. A few more millimeters, we wouldn't have Donald Trump right now. You cannot forget that because of how far we've come in such a short amount of time, and this is why I think everything is spinning out of control, right? And again, I don't. Elon Musk has surpassed expectations. We have the dream team. I am hoping and praying because we've got dime store judges right now that are just walking off the street, coming in and throwing executive orders in the way. And again, none of this will ever make a bit of difference if we don't get the law fixed. And we have got serious problems up there in Washington. Same thing down in Georgia. We're not fixing anything,
Same here.
but we have got to figure out how to get these people in gear and fix this for good.
we got 125 lawsuits against Trump, all designed to weight him down.
Yep.
None of them will stand constitutional muster, but because Trump absolutely has a right to stop fraud. He absolutely has the right to do that. in his executive powers. He absolutely has the right to boot transgenders out of the military. Bill Clinton did, don't ask, don't tell.
That's right.
That stood for 10 years. So Trump absolutely has the right to say how he wants the military configured. So these lawsuits won't stand, but the Supreme Court, for whatever reason, is not stepping in to deal with it. Trump absolutely has the right to deport illegal aliens that have committed other crimes beyond entering the country illegally. Mm-hmm. That judge saying, turn that plane back around, don't even have jurisdiction. But the Supreme Court still has not stepped in. And if we really wanted to be saying something about Doge, even though Musk has shown a light on all of the fraud, waste, and abuse, again, I'm repeating myself, is still funded.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, it is. In fact, a federal judge just came out, 2 days ago, and executive decision from that judge saying you got to give all the money back that you that you've already took away. And then you've got a media narrative. They're not calling it fraud. They're calling it, this is money that's well needed, funded for programs. They've got this narrative like this isn't fraud. This isn't ridiculous. But go ahead, Antonio.
No, the $2 billion worth. And attorney Mike Davis came out and said, you know what they should do? They should take, I think the federal judiciary has $14 billion or something, or $12 billion. He said they should cut the $2 billion out of their budget, and then end off some of these DC, that block they got up in that jurisdiction that's he says, quite frankly, illegal, and start defunding them and take the money from there. And I bet you they start being different then.
Get their attention.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, you saw what they just did to that university. $175 million that they have paused.
Columbia.
Yeah.
Mm. Because that's supposed to be the journalism university, right? You know what they've been producing.
Well, now I don't know what they've been producing, but I know one thing: they better get them men out of those women's sports.
Amen. That's one thing Georgia did do right, or is doing right, is passing. There's a few good bills that are going through that they're allowing to go through. To give them kudos. Hey, they passed it in Georgia. And thank goodness they did. Are they going to enforce it in Georgia, right? Because at the same time, we have, Little Miss Georgia, who is a transgender, or whatever you want to call it, that's competing for the first time. I mean, how ironic is that our state legislature is passing this bill, yet we're allowing it to happen in pageants? So I don't get it.
Kim, why do you think we need a law to tell us that men ain't got no business in women's sports? You're a woman.
It's mind-boggling to me. And I grew up playing sports in high school. I was very athletically inclined, and when we would do any type of co-ed sports, softball, volleyball, whatever it was, you didn't stand a chance, and it was dangerous. It's not like I needed, a big headline to tell me about it. And let alone needing a rule to say we shouldn't be able to, that they should be able to play with us. We've got enough examples now of women who have been hurt. Severely. There's enough examples now of why we don't do it.
Yeah. Well, we suffered through the Me Too movement, which we all saw how that turned out. Yet we're allowing men to go in boxing rings and beat the crap out of women for crying out loud.
I don't understand. Here's what I don't understand, and I guess this is me wanting to just kind of be harsh. But if I'm an athlete on that level, and I walk into a competition and I'm confronted with a girl or a boy who thinks she's a girl. I'm just going to have to trust what I'm seeing and say, no, thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
And bow out.
Exactly.
It doesn't even matter to me beyond that, because I'm here to compete against a girl. And I think that's where, the Riley Gaines, certainly the girls at those levels who have stepped up and said, no, not doing it anymore. I mean, I'm not going to be gaslit anymore.
Yeah.
Are there women that have been walking off, or girls that have been walking out of competitions because there was some man that stepped into it? I've not seen it. Have you guys seen any stories?
I haven't seen it to
No.
where so much of a demonstration to say,
Well,
"Hey, out of
there
here."
have been a couple of examples of a couple of team sports where the coaches said we're opting out. Volleyball,
Oh
nope.
my God.
We're not going to compete. We'll give you the game. We're not going to play.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you something. Both my girls play volleyball, travel ball, and they got great teams. The girls' teams are on fire. Okay, but every year at the big thing down in Atlanta, as the teams are finishing up, you have this huge audience around the boys' teams. All right, and I'm going to tell you something. I would never let my daughter, and it has nothing to do with because she's weak or this or that, the other. It's a completely different. You know, a man is a man, a woman's a woman. Everything's different. But you see these kids play, and it's completely different. And I know that they could probably die from taking a hit to some of these
Sure.
boys that are doing it. You know, there's reasons. There's scientific reasons why we do this. And to me, it's beyond me to think that anybody would put themselves in that situation.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Well,
Our
like I
whole
said,
world.
I would like to see more women, Derek, to answer your question. I would just like to see more women, emboldened when they step on the court or the field or whatever, and that is going on, to stop, just cease all play, walk
That's
off
right.
the field, make your stand, and if the coach can't handle it and make some adjustments, then we forfeit the game.
Yeah, get rid of the coach.
Yeah.
Well, because you got to go through that, certainly. But at that point, I think all girls need to find that power, step into their power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that because so I'll be 65 this month. I never dreamed that I would live to see the things that I've seen taking place in this country. And I knew that it was seriously broken. Now, let me qualify this. Obama didn't do all of this by himself.
You're right.
Yep.
Okay?
True.
Democrats didn't do all of this by themselves.
Yep.
But Obama was the one that they used to usher in opening the Pandora's box of, and I use the term sodomite.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got.
Mm.
All of it came out. Obama removed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And it went when in his first term, when I voted for him, I distinctly remember him saying in a speech, well, I believe that marriage is between a man
Me too.
and a woman. I heard those words.
I did too.
He did.
And when he got to that second term, for which I did not vote for him because of what he did with the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and 18 months into his presidency, I saw there is no difference in his spending than George Bush. And he still got the same battles going, wars that George Bush had going. I was ready to give up on politics altogether
Yeah.
at that point. And then I heard about Ron Paul.
Oh
But
yes.
and that's why I ended up writing him in versus, but anyway. So Obama ushered in the sodomite stuff, and Joe Biden added to that the mental illness. Because, 50 years ago, if you were a boy telling somebody that you were a girl, they put you in a nut house.
They did. That's right.
It was classified as mental illness, and I think the word is diaspora.
Gender dysphoria.
Gender dysphoria.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go. Thank you, Antonio. I knew
Yep.
somebody paid attention. All right, so that and that's where they brought us, and then the spending. Roy, you and I was talking about, we know our monetary system is going to fail, but are we going to drive off that cliff at 25 miles an hour, or are we going to speed up to 100?
That's right.
Well,
That's right.
Joe Biden took us up to 150. So,
Yes.
but at any rate, yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I get kind of long-winded, but
No, you're good.
No, that's
I'm
good.
just sharing with you some of the old nonsense that we dealt with.
Well, I want to add a point to that. Barack Obama was the first Doge creator. All the videos coming out, he already went through this program. He just didn't do anything with it. It was all, the shiny object.
in charge of it.
Yeah, he put Joe Biden in charge of it, for God's sake. We're seeing Joe Biden's name in the JFK files. I don't know how much y'all are digging in there, but Joe Biden is all over the JFK. John F. Kennedy called that man a traitor even back then. Joe Biden.
That was JFK Jr.
Junior, you're right. I mean,
in 1997,
wasn't it?
Or the 7th?
Yeah, I did.
Junior sent him
that's
the
my
note.
bad on it. You're right.
They listed Junior as the unsub.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden as the victim. So,
yeah, that's true. I did over glorify that a bit, but it wasn't JFK.
That's all right. I reeled you back in.
All right, guys. So we're right at 1:11. So let's bring up one more topics. Antonio, you give us one, and then we'll look at the comments tonight. We have a good bit of people on here tonight, so we got some couple good comments we're going to go through. So,
I think in Georgia we definitely, me and you talk often, and one of my top concerns is who's going to lead the state next. And we need to be in much prayer for whoever the next governor is going to be for Georgia, because I'm telling you, if we don't get the right person, we definitely will miss the golden age. Trump has 4 quarters to play. We're already in the first one. And before you know it, we'll be in 26. I mean, in 26, which is the big showdown.
Right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Yes.
And we have a goal, the patriots, people that believe in the Constitution, God, family, country, and the establishment has a goal. They already showed us who they are. They passed their own Green New Deal, a few years ago. And they showed us that they want this electric cars and stuff. We got this big Rivian plant. We got a water crisis because of some of the stuff some of the factories that's coming here. Is that in Effingham County?
Effingham County, yeah. Right down there in our Speaker John Burns district.
Okay, so they basically already shown us who we are, and we are in a big struggle session right now, and that's why we need fighters everywhere on every level. And the big revelation is definitely underway. The big showdown is going to be between now and 2026. We need America First Patriot fighter to lead this state of Georgia. And I say it many times, and I say it again. I only seen one person with that potential. I won't say who.
I was just going to ask.
You're talking about Colton Moore.
Now?
He's talking about Colton Moore. Let's not make bones about it. A lot of people in the state of Georgia, right, are texting, calling, emailing, saying Colton Moore should step up for governor.
That's what I keep hearing. Some people asked and was trying to press Mallory Staples yesterday about it. From what we hear, it's not completely off the table for him. But this is what I'll say. We each have a voice, and it should be the people's choice who to call their leaders forward. So if you're watching this and you want Colton Moore, you call Colton Moore. You plead your case with him, tell him you support him to do it. Ultimately, he'll have to make the decision. But this is where our voice is very important. I can tell you there are many people that have contacted me, not just on X, but I have talked to multiple different people, not even attached to each other, who have asked about, is Colton Moore going to do it? Is Colton Moore? I said, hey, I don't know if he's going to do it. I never said anything directly to him about running for governor, still to date, because this needs to be something that comes from the people, in my view, and ultimately it will be his decision on whether he does it or not. But I don't see anybody else, in my personal opinion. The man has nothing else to prove in the Georgia Senate, in the Gold Dome. I mean, in that, They casted and forced him into the same casting of Donald J. Trump.
Yes.
They wanted to assault Trump. They did. They shot him in the ear. Okay. They wanted to put him in jail. He stood up every single time. He went the whole distance of the line and beyond for us. And that's what we need to lead this state of Georgia.
So Colton, I mean, there's not much time. How much time does he need to qualify and then start a campaign? I mean, how quickly can we?
Well, I'll
can we
just
convince him
until we get through our district conventions and get through the state convention. I think the day after state convention, there's going to be so many people declaring what they're running that our heads are going to be spinning, right? So we're in this limbo territory now where everybody's trying to get in their positions and everybody's trying to get in there. And once that happens, the day after state convention, I think we're going to see stuff drop all over the place that we're just going to have to be ready for, and we're going to have to start focusing on it. Until then, I don't think we're going to hear much from people about what they're going to do. So,
well,
yeah.
But
the saga continues.
So Derrick, you go ahead, and then I'll end with Kim, and then we'll do some comments, and then we'll end the show. So,
well, Roy, you and I, we talk about this, on our Tuesday call. I won't get into those names, but we need to start talking about who are we going to. So we have 9 representatives, GOP representatives in the state of Georgia. The other 6 are Democrats. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you don't need to be primary. We got a new guy that was I think his name is Jake. He doesn't need to be primary. He ain't got a voting record yet. He just got put in December. And there's another guy, I think he's like 88 CVR, constitutional voting record. At any rate, we've got 6 that need to be primary.
agreed.
And we need to talk about them names. Maybe you can get Kim and Antonio back on here and we can top it up.
Well, absolutely. I think as part of the grassroots movement, we're all grassroots people. We're looking for better leadership. We're going to have to work together and coordinate, not as in smear campaign. What we're going to do is coordinate on bringing out the truth and the light and elevating these people's voices where they don't get the chance to do that. I
talk about I never attack candidates personally. I did say that Marjorie Taylor Greene was a loudmouth. She is. You see her out there on the TV. I did say that. That's a true statement. But she has the best constitutional voting record.
Sure. Yeah, I love Marjorie. I do.
Right.
But yes.
But these other folk, all I'm going to talk about is their voting record. Mm-hmm. We got one guy that has a 59% constitutional voting record. That means 41% of the time when he votes against his constituents.
We could call that a rhino.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's all I got.
Okay.
Rhino by grade.
I'm 100%. Kim?
I'm like you. I'm listening and I'm learning and I'm, I know our we've got that great link. What is it? The great link that we can refer to see what our members' voting records are.
It's a constitutional. It's from the John Birch Society. It is the
newamerican.com/freedom-index.
That's it. Freedom Index.
So much I know it by heart.
There it is. Say it again, Derrick. Say it again, because that's such a great tool to put out there in front of everybody. It should be attached to everything we send. Use it as a tool. Have it right there. Don't take my word for it. Just jump in here and see what your representative's voting record is, and then decide. It speaks volumes.
It's a Freedom Index, right?
Freedom-index.
Okay. We're going to post a link up to that. I know a lot of people are using it, and I just found out too that other organizations have their own voting records, right? And we're talking about a constitutional voting record that explains why and what it has to do with the Constitution. Because I found out recently that Colton Moore on another voter scorecard scored lower than any one of the Republicans in these Republican groups.
You can't trust them.
Of
That's
course.
That's why look, I have researched a dozen. What they do, they will slant their scores to justify bad votes so that people think that these individuals are constitutional conservatives, and they're not. The good thing about the John Birch Society is it will give you chapter and verse.
That's right.
Of why this particular vote violated the Constitution, and it'll show you where.
That's right.
Yeah.
So makes all the difference in the world.
That's right. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to move through comments really quick. We don't have a whole lot, but we've got 107 people watching. That's amazing. Wow, that takes the cake. Carol Streeter, thank you for sharing Calvin's Corner. Good to see you. Calvin is a good friend of mine at work buddy.
Calvin.
Oh, yeah, you remember Calvin. He went down to the Capitol last year.
Calvin. Hey, Calvin.
Yep, Calvin's Corner. Karen Lynn Dobson, good to see you. Good to have you with us this evening. Love it. Met Karen over in Floyd County. They got a wonderful group of patriots, and they've got an ERA slate that's running for Floyd County this weekend. I wish them all the best. Lisa Adams, what an amazing person, and she says, what an amazing group of patriots on this panel.
Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Yes, thank you so much, Lisa. Love you.
Lisa keeps putting out the good word.
She did. She was there last week. She got to release a video of Josh McCoon and enjoyed watching it. Appreciate that she did that. Jan Sheffield, good to see you, Jan. Let's see, Dana Bridges Tate, good to see you on tonight. Leslie Smathers, hello. Lisa says, okay, they said each of these patriots bring pieces of the political puzzle that we're trying to continuously put together. Amen to that. Lisa Adams says, if they are attacking, you're over the target. I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it. I mean, 99% of the time, that's true. Michael Anthony, great, wonderful dude, great patriot from Pittsburgh. We'll have him back on the show too soon. Blake Ellsbury, it's good to see you. MAGA Mom 58 saying hey to Miss Kim.
Ellen, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Carol said it goes back to what she said it goes back to what I told all of you, your last name and money status. Well, I mean, again, David Naha, good to see you. Let's see. Dana says Kemp is definitely a joke. I don't know what else you can call it at this point.
Right.
Blake says voters don't elect on merits anymore. It's all rhetoric, empty promises, and believing everything they see on social media without educating themselves on the facts and making an educated decision. And both sides do it. That's why good people who could make an impact don't run for public office. That's certainly the comment of the night, I believe. Dean's
they're working.
That's right. Dean Scott Bryant says DG goes back to the Honorable Dr. Ron Paul days. Ron Paul was right about everything, and I wrote Ron Paul in before, and he's one of my heroes, really. But Naha I felt the same way. I heard Derrick speak myself. Always shoots it straight. Yep. And that was the day the first time that Naha ever heard you speak, Derrick, when you showed up to our camp out, and I had no idea you were going to be there. And I said, please get up on the stage and speak. And you was like, okay. And you just won more people over. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Derrick, it was a pleasure to meet you. Antonio, I'm glad I got to connect with you too. And Roy, thank you for inviting me in. I realized I was a good listener tonight. So
you did great.
We don't have a lot of time. 26 is right around the corner. If we can't use our platforms and our voices to, have more of this and share it with more and more people, that are voting, that's our job. I'm with you. Just spread the word.
Right.
Spread the word.
Absolutely. Richard says Curling versus Raffensperger trial rules in favor of Secretary of State Raffensperger in spite of the Dominion machine being hacked right in front of it. What? Oh, Richard, I'm going to have to look into this. He's saying that the trial, he just put on here, Curling versus Raffensperger trial rules in favor of Secretary of State Raffensperger in spite of the Dominion machine being hacked right in front of Judge Totenberg. We're gonna have to look into that. Big time.
About
So.
gaslit.
Wow, that just made my blood boil.
And they don't want to let go of those machines.
No,
that's their power, Derrick.
That's right.
That's their power.
Yeah.
They know what the real numbers are too.
Yep.
They know what the real numbers are.
Yeah, I'm having to skip just a couple comments, guys. Carol said, "Did you see where Catherine Bernard posted that the Georgia Supreme Court ruled her client was not allowed to testify?" I didn't see where the Georgia Supreme Court ruled that. I mean, I watched the trial, but we'll have to get back to that. Carol, I might reach out to you about that because I don't know about that. And Richard says, let's get Tina Peters out of prison. Absolutely. Hope that happens. Let's see here. Man, there's some good ones. Thank you, Carol, for sharing. Trump beat the worst candidate in the history of the world by 2%. We will not win anything in the midterms unless we ban the electronic voting machines. I'm in full agreement. Jan Ellis Weaver says hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots, or do they choose our governor, or do we? Whew, that's a close second for the comment of the night. And then we got, okay, good. Lisa posted the Freedom Index. Christina Benjamin says, late to the show, was busy with homework from my county convention. Hey, you go get them, girl. Gonna go back and listen. Thank you. Michael Jan 8 says, what is that link again? It's right up in the comments. And yeah, Antonio put a smiley face up. Wow, that just looks like we're gonna have to be up and figure out this Totenberg case, guys. But yeah.
It said freedom-index.
Yes, freedom-index.
Freedom-index.
It's a great tool. If you go to the link, the freedomindex.org, it's from the John Birch Society. There's a lot of explanation. You can go to the state. You can go to the county. You can look up your representative, see where they vote on the most crucial issues. And trust me, guys, 400 pieces of legislation, and we don't even know what's really made it through crossover yet. If you ask me, this is a lame duck session from a governor who has no other responsibility after this, and they're cashing in all the favors. That's what it looks like to me. So,
yep, the rapid fire bills, people can't even keep up. They can't even get their head around it. They're still trying, listening to the first thing, and then it's just coming so fast and furious. Even, I'm having a hard time keeping up. So,
when did they have time to write 400 bills?
Thank you.
I mean, the session is 40 days long. You got 400 bills. That's how many bills is that per day? I got my math wrong. Is that they write bills?
Well, we got 365 days in a year.
Heck
so,
yeah.
We might say 1.789. All right.
It's even.
They aren't writing the bills, man.
No.
They're pulling them out of
people that the lobbyists work for corporate interests are writing the bills.
That's right. Lobbyists. Lobbyists are writing the bills. And then when you talk to your legislators, say, hey, you got anything, coming up here? The session's fixing to start. Well, no, I don't believe we do. I think we're starting off with a clean slate. And then 400 bills later.
All of a sudden.
It sounds like we need to change something here. But anyway.
Yeah.
Guys, I appreciate it. This was my first panel, and it went splendid. We didn't lose anything. I'm going to be posting to YouTube. Guys, thank y'all for the participation. We're really just trying to bring the truth out there, and these are great people that are all working in different ways. Kim, you need to go support her at Kim's Coffee Talk. You can find it on Facebook. She's all over the place in the morning show on your way to work.
Hey, we want to offer that platform to all the voices who want to come out. Derrick, certainly, and I know you're out there on yours, but we want to offer that early morning platform and trying to certainly get going with Torch of Liberty media in his radio block too. So yeah, we just want to use
on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, where are you at? Where all are you at?
Rumble, X, Facebook, YouTube banned us. Yeah, we got banned.
You got banned? Oh,
got banned. We've worked real hard.
On Facebook, right?
We got banned on TikTok a couple of times. We're out there trying, but they don't. You can't handle the truth.
Okay.
Antonio,
what time is your show?
6:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay, I'll tune in the morning on Facebook.
We would love for you to share it with us,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Come be part of it anytime.
All right.
You bring the subject and we'll just open it up.
Well, I'm gonna just tune in and listen while I drive into town.
Okay.
So and check you out.
We'd love for you to do that. Derrick, it was a pleasure. So I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Antonio, Roy, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Kim. We appreciate it.
Good night, Kim.
Yeah.
Are we out?
Yeah.
Good night. I got to be back up at 6:30.
I got you.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right.
Take care.
Antonio, it was good seeing you again, Chief.
Same here, man. Appreciate it.
Antonio, where can people find you?
War Room GC on all platforms, Rumble, Facebook, until they ban us, X, and YouTube.
That's right.
Broadcasting live. Big show next week. Haven't announced the names yet. Might be bringing on Congressman Ralph Norman. Already talked with him, went back and forth, and he said he would love to come on the show, so he may be coming on to share some knowledge. So I know I'm gonna have to try to work something out with you, Roy, to have to figure out how we can get you to host this second hour or third hour of the show or something, but we'll figure it out.
I love it. Derrick, where can people find you?
Oh man, just type my name in Google.
That's right. Type his name. He's got Coffee Talk. He's got a YouTube channel. He is going to be running in 2028. We need to make Derrick Grayson a household name. And we also do the Cliff's Edge. It's still starting off slow, but is it offthecliffsedge.com?
On the Cliff's Edge.
On the Cliff's Edge. Man, we didn't. My bad, Derrick. It's on the Cliff's Edge.
You already sent me down into the gully.
Yeah,
I'm a part of On the Cliff's Edge. There's a lot of really good people that are working there, and we're gearing up together from all over the state because we need each other's help and support. And guys, I just appreciate y'all doing this with me.
Man, pleasure was mine. And Antonio, I'm gonna have to check out the show, man.
Yeah. Oh, he's
great. Been there yet, but I am going to get there this week.
Yes.
Okay.
You do your show on the weekend?
It's normally like during the week,
like Wednesdays mostly.
Normally on Tuesday or Wednesday. That's just been the best time for the people to tune in to it. So that's why I had picked that date.
Man, it's going to be next Tuesday.
I'll definitely send you the link though, so you can watch the replay.
Yeah, I'm gonna email you a link, Derrick, when I hang up in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, and
check some of the shows.
As always, you can go to givesendgo.com/smalltown underground. That's the only link I have to support. And we hopefully got a special show coming. I can't say it yet, but once I get it confirmed, it's going to be a real special show on Friday. And I'm super excited, and I hope it works out. We're just going to keep praying that it does. But folks, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. We don't want to be intimidated. We don't want to stray away from our conscience. We want to see the best people in the best Georgia we can possibly see. And we know we don't have it now. So we're going to keep fighting. But thank y'all.
Good night, fellas.
Thank you. Good night to you. Yes, sir. And thank y'all, everybody out there. We're out. Thank you for spending your evening with us. And I will see you guys later.
Legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carriers that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.